Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly.
I thought, yo, this is my life. I have to go pro in Halo.
In my head, thought that was more efficient, and I guess I was right.
He was like the god. We would have to 2v1 like just to beat this guy. Like
I don't know, man.
I'll try and reach you. You're like, oh, see you guys later.
A lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey. I love it.
Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly, your weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay, and another week, another interview. And of course, this one's with the king of the noobs, Ryanoob. But before we get there, we've got our news, we've got our trick jump of the week. We also have our giveaway, our grassroots skin and nameplate, BR skin and nameplate. All you got to do is type !grassroots in the chat. There's a little Nightbot update that'll go in the chat every once in a while, so it'll remind you, but !grassroots, and you can enter that contest. Let's get right into the news for this week. Welcome MattyRums from DubeCombo.com. How's it going, Matty?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Nice to see you again.
Likewise.
Yeah, we got more updates. A little light on news this week, but we have MCC playlist updates. Good to see that MCC is continually being updated. What do we got so far?
Yeah, so this update pretty much just focused on a lot of social games.
Right.
There was a bunch of them, but I feel like the ones that stuck out to me was the Slayer Halo 1 score to kill was changed back from 75 to the original 50.
Right. So apparently it was changed to 75 in the first place. Do we know why they're just kind of tinkering with it?
They said that they were just testing it out to see how it worked, but the games were taking too long, so they decided to switch back. And I know a lot of people weren't happy with it.
Right. I heard Ogre 2 wasn't happy with it as well. I'm sure he's the main guy they got to listen to. This man is running classic Halo. So
the next one, Free For All, is being added to social. They're taking the Lone Wolves playlist. They said it's rotating out, so I imagine it's just a temporary. See how well people respond to it.
Right. Always a little afraid of rotating playlists, just because you want to have as much content as possible, but understandable with the community, splitting everybody up across playlists. It makes sense to rotate some of them out, add some in. So I guess the new one is free for all now. Okay. And then we also have maps coming to snipers as well, right? Yeah,
they mentioned they're going to be adding new maps to snipers, and they're going to, I believe, lessen on the amount of BTB maps that you'll get.
Right.
And they also hinted that they are looking into bringing a 8v8 snipers match, as well as removing the radar.
Yeah, which
nice.
8v8 would be awesome. Just way more mayhem, bigger maps would make sense in that case. And just snipers is probably one of the most fun playlists personally for me, especially in Halo 3. So 8v8 snipers would be really exciting. Hopefully they bring that in. On top of that, even skill-based matchmaking, they're planning on bringing into social in some capacity as well.
Yeah, they're bringing skill-based matchmaking parameters, and they said that this is quote-unquote will prefer matches of comparable skill, but not require them. So a lot of people were worried that it's going to take longer to find a match, but they're saying if that's the case, then they'll, I guess, roll back the update.
Right. So something they're testing. In the end of the day, I think that makes the most sense. Even in social, you do want to ideally have something that's more along the lines of your skill level, just so you're not, dumping on all the brand new players on a consistent basis. So more so for balancing, everything. We'll see how that works, and hopefully that doesn't increase, wait times in playlists, of course. But it's good that they're continually looking into these things, adding fixes, updates, keeping things fresh. We also have some updates in the world of Halo esports as well. Lux Gaming acquires Orlando Force. What's this all about?
Yeah, so Orlando Force is one of the teams in the Pro Battle League, which was a Halo 5 league. Denial was previously in there as the Anaheim Pirates, but they backed out.
Right.
They're currently, I think, looking for team members. So if you're in the Florida, Orlando area, you can contact them at their Twitter, which is PBL Force.
Yeah.
And according to their tweet, because Season 4 of the Battle League was delayed, but according to Lux Gaming's tweet, it seems like after DreamHack is when we'll, I guess, be hearing it or seeing it start up, because they said that they'll be focusing on that team specifically after DreamHack.
Right. So PBL hasn't disappeared yet, right? So for those of you who don't already know, PBL is specifically focusing on competitive Halo 5. So anybody looking for, an opportunity to compete in Halo 5, this is available. Now they had delayed it, but apparently it may still be in the works. We got season 4 on the way after DreamHack. We'll see what happens, but good to know that they're still around. They haven't totally left us just yet. We also have apparently a prize pool announcement soon as well. That's from PBL, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I've been told that there will be a previously your prize was some type of cryptocurrency,
right?
But I was told that there will be a real prize pool in the next season.
It's a much better incentive, I'm sure, like actually getting some real cold hard cash for your efforts. And then we have some tournaments as well, kind of light on tournaments. There's Halo Wars Championship League for anybody who likes the RTS style of Halo. We have some updates here.
Yeah, it was the only thing, excuse me, only thing happening that I knew of. But the Invitational was the top players from a series of tournaments held by the Halo Wars community. First place went to Almirante 99. Man, can't get this out of my throat.
Man, you got something in your throat, baby.
First place was Almirante 99. Second place went to Rock Generation. And third place went to Jeff Kills.
Jeff Kills, right. And this is all specifically Halo Wars. There's a whole Halo Wars Community Championship League as well, something that I'm not personally keeping tabs on. Maybe some of you guys are. You can feel free to check that out. Obviously, all information that we're currently talking about is available on noobcombo.com. Matty runs noobcombo.com. He's got all of the news there. You can find more details there. Now, I know we're a little light on news overall. There's a rumor I heard. A little birdie told me. I don't know. Some websites on the internet seem to be saying this, but apparently it could be possible that there's what, like a total of $500 million for the budget for Halo Infinite. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, it was a German website.
This is me just trying to throw something interesting into the mix here.
Yeah, it was a German website made that remark. There's no actual fact behind it, so I don't know where it came from. But if 500 million is the budget for development, that would put it past anything that Rockstar has ever done for Red Dead 2 or Grand Theft Auto 5.
Right.
And they even said that Modern Warfare 2 and Destiny didn't even exceed 300 million. So if it's 500, that's insane.
Really, like $500 million is an unprecedented budget. So that's like, you think of a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 that's absolutely massive. Like, imagine what they could do with that much money. And I know there are so many areas of Halo that need to be built out, whether it's having a bigger campaign and higher production value and mocap and stuff to make it, a story that's believable and engaging. And then you have multiplayer and you have Battle Royale, or you have, massive modes like any new initiatives that they want to add in the side of multiplayer. There's so much they could do there. And it would be great because I know that Microsoft is trying to put a greater focus onto gaming. They're buying new studios. Right. They're putting money into into having a more lucrative, more lucrative future and just a bigger space in the future. Because Xbox, as far as overall in consoles, Xbox is kind of on a lower point right now. So I really, really hope this is true. At least some aspect of it is true. I think they really need to start investing in Halo. They have an opportunity here, especially now more than ever, where Halo still has that brand recognition. I feel like everybody still knows what Halo is. Like when you say Halo, you recognize that name, Yeah,
definitely.
It's just bringing it back in a big way, and I think that this could really help. So we'll see what happens there. As far as what we know is happening, we've got events this week as well. Give me the rundown, Matt.
Yeah, on Thursday, April 18th, there's a Griffball tournament. Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a Griffball community.
That's awesome.
It's got a $250 prize. It's called Bum Rush in the Junkyard.
Okay.
And it's being held by Play Griffball. You can find info at playgriffball.com. On Saturday, April 20th, we actually have 3 tournaments. There's another Halo Wars tournament from Breaking the Clutch. And then we have the qualifier number 2 for DreamHack Dallas. And then there's also SWAT Nation's 3v3 Invitational.
Yeah, just
you will be the star of.
the star of these guys are the star. Honestly, like Nap Time's putting together this all the SWAT events that they've been doing have been pretty amazing. Like the prize pools, the support from the community. Like it's great to see that there's a whole SWAT community for Halo overall. So I'm just kind of joining the excitement here. So this Saturday, which is also 420, just conveniently, but we'll do it. It'll be a nice controlled broadcast. I'm sure it'll be a fun time. But guys, make sure to tune in. I'll be casting for the SWAT Nation 3v3 event coming up this weekend. And I believe that closes the news that we have for this week, Matty?
Yep, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, guys, check out noobcombo.com for all the information we just talked about. You can get the details, the links, everything you need. Thank you for joining me, Matty. I'll see you next week.
See you later.
All right, and that closes our news section for the episode. And now we're going to move on to the trick jump of the week with ClearlyMe. Welcome, ClearlyMe, to the show. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Waiting for yet another jump from you. What do we got this week, man?
Kind of a weird map. People call it one of the least jumpable maps in the Halo 3
Least jumpable maps
section.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I have a clip of me playing SWAT.
Was it
Playing
Citadel?
with one buddy of mine, and one particular guy on the team, I forget his gamer tag, but I just kept tricking him with this little move right here.
Ooh.
Now, I don't show the full potential of it right here. I just kind of juke him out, but you can get up to the top of the base with that. Just kind of do a shortcut up instead of taking the ramp.
Yeah, the verticality you get really quick with that jump is actually super convenient. Like, you were way above his head in like half a second there.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
that's the way
my
to get
buddy
up
called
there.
that guy out, and it's ended up being the same guy from before when I used that.
Wow, that is a nice jump right there. How does that work?
So it is an edge ghost. That's what it's classified as. It is a little awkward. I've done a lot of tutorials on various different edge ghosts before. This one will stand out differently in comparison to those other ones. But basically, there's a little lip in the wall right there, and your goal is to smack the top of your head on it. But on this one, you're tapping, crouch, and jumping at the same time, and it helps get that extra clearance over that lip, so that way you don't fly backwards and you don't lose any momentum to land on that ledge right there.
Jeez.
It is a little awkward. It's an awkward edge ghost, but once you understand how it works, it becomes extremely easy.
Okay.
And as you can see, pretty consistent and very useful, not in just SWAT, but any game mode that you play on Citadel. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering how you guys figure out these jumps. I just imagine you just jump at a wall like over and over and over again until something kind of clicks, or you just kind of understand certain patterns. You look for certain things, right?
Exactly. You basically have to know the physics of the game, and as far as jump techniques go. Once you know what an edge ghost is and why it works, the whole game becomes a canvas, basically.
Right, exactly.
And same with every other technique. Once you fully understand and grasp everything about it, you can just look at a wall and be like, okay, I can do that there, I can do this here, or I can't do this here, can't do that there.
Yeah.
Everything becomes just way easier.
And that really is the beauty of Halo movement, right? Is you just kind of figure out the mechanics intimately to the point where you can transfer that all over the game in different maps and different areas you never thought would be possible originally. Hopefully this gets transferred over to Infinite. I know it keeps saying it, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. Obviously there'll be unique jumps and strategies that I'm sure will carry over, but looking forward to seeing what happens there. Thank you, ClearlyMe, for joining me once again.
Of course, man. And before I head out of here, I will be posting a full tutorial of that jump tomorrow, probably around 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. That will be first posted on my Twitter, which is at MCC Trick Jumps.
Yep. Guys, make sure to check out at MCC Trick Jumps on Twitter. Make sure to join his Discord as well. I was thinking Twitter and Discord, I think at the same time, and I said Chitter for some reason. But join the Discord community as well. This guy's got a whole community talking about jumps and breaking them down. Then you got the YouTube channel associated where you look at everything in more detail. But thank you for joining me once again. And I'll see you next week, man.
I'll see you, man. Thank you.
That covers our trick jump segment, our news. Let's get on to the main interview of the night. I'm excited to welcome Ryanoob to the stream.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, man? How you been?
Doing all right, living life, doing my own thing for a little bit.
That's what I was going to ask is, like, are you kind of heavily on the Halo grind right now? Or are you taking a break? You're like kind of relaxing for a bit?
Definitely taking more of a break. I've been trying to dissuade myself away from more practices and, living life right now. I just got married a couple of months ago, and I ended up joining some soccer leagues. So I'm trying to give every excuse I can to not play Halo and not grind as much as I usually do. But it keeps pulling me back anyway. Yeah,
and I mean, with MCC PC and Infinite, I don't see how you're going to completely disappear. I know it's going to suck you right back in, but this is probably the best time to take that break. And congratulations, man. That's pretty amazing. I saw it on Twitter with the wedding. It looked totally beautiful. So you're killing it, man. It's great to see. But I want to go all the way back to the beginning. Before you were Ryanoob, before you're anybody, I want to know how it all started. Because you got a long-standing career that starts all the way back in 2009. But where did it all begin? How did you first get into Halo?
Yeah, I first got into Halo because my cousins, when they were playing Halo 1, they would land at their house. I would just watch them for the most part. I wasn't good enough to play with them, but
Right.
I would go back and do those the invincible. You'd be invincible. You'd stick a warthog a million times, then watch you go flying. I remember those days.
Right.
But then as the games kept coming out, I was a very competitive person. I played soccer all throughout my childhood, so I was always competitive. And then going into Halo 2, I just played the competitive playlist, hardcore back in the day. I played Team Objective, Team Slayer. I got decent ranks in those. Obviously, I wasn't good back then, but I was still trying, you know.
Yeah. I like how it always starts off with something completely silly. Like that's the thing with Halo that kind of pulls you in is like just like ridiculous stuff, like trying to find a super jump in like Halo 2 Zanzibar or something, or like tossing sticky grenades, launching warthogs, whatever it is. There's so many ways to get sucked into it. And then like you said, so you're very competitive. You started with soccer. That's pretty cool as well. Do you ever stick with soccer? Are you still playing a lot of soccer these days?
So I played until the end of high school. I was good for my area, but my area was awful. So I was varsity during freshman, but we were like an 0-22 team, so that didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And then I just joined 2 like soccer leagues recently, so I play now twice a week, and I've been having a blast doing that.
Yeah, we're actually getting totally off topic, but I remember I was watching a little interview with you about HCS London, and your last question, you were saying that when you were in London, you really wanted to see a football game.
Oh my God.
Did you get to? Did it happen?
No. So the one thing that I did get to do, I was talking about playing soccer over there, and we Bravo brought a ball, and then I found a field for us to play in, like it was just like a turf pitch, but we got a group of 10 like Halo players to come out and play, and oh my God, that was the best part of the weekend, honestly. Like, yeah, everyone just came out. Bravo was in insane shape, and he was just running up and down the court. I died after like 10 minutes.
Nice.
But yeah, I was completely surprised that we were able to do that. No, but the big match, I think it was PSG versus Liverpool was on that weekend, and I could have gone and seen it, but it was like a $100 train ticket plus I think it was like a $250 ticket, and I was like, I don't know, it's an entire day's like travel there and back, and I don't know anyone. It'd be kind of weird. And if I found cheaper tickets, I would have gone. But I almost went to that game, and that game was incredible. I watched it on the TV while I was there, and it sucks that I missed out on it, but it's all right.
Cool that you actually got to play like soccer with the Halo players, though. I actually I came across because I know Bravo's actually pretty good at it as well.
Oh no, he's amazing.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't know too much about soccer, but I remember even in St. Louis, he had a ball he was kicking around with Onset, and they sent it over to me, and I was like, yeah, guys, I'm a nerd through and through. I'm gonna embarrass myself. Like I'm not getting involved. I just kicked it back and like walked out. Like I'm not about to soil any kind of reputation we have here by completely screwing up. Anyway, so at some point with Halo for you, so you started off, you fell in love with it, you're a competitive guy, you decided you wanted to take things to an actual LAN for Halo 3. So in 2009, you attend your first major event, MLG Columbus, and then things started to really pick up for you in 2010 when you joined Adrenaline Rush. You placed 14th with MLG Orlando, and then you moved over to the Warriors at MLG Columbus, finishing 5th place, and then later you achieved 4th place as a member of Darkest Hour with Batman, Twilight, and Goofy to close off your Halo 3 season. And at this point, even just with Halo 3, you'd already proven yourself as a formidable player. But tell me a bit about these first like LAN experiences. What was it like going to that first LAN, and was it tough to like get your parents, your family on board, getting you out to all these events?
Yeah, so the first tournament was Columbus, and if anyone knows that event, you walk out to the escalator and go down, and while you're like taking the escalator down, you can see the entire event. And at the time, it wasn't just Halo, but Halo is the main focus.
Right.
But you just see thousands of people there, all there to play some video games. And when I was a kid, I was 16 at the time, 15. I couldn't comprehend that, like whenever I'm playing online, it's like, yeah, there's that maybe 1,000 people that play, but how are thousands of people coming to this event, And so for me, that was incredible. But to get my parents on board, honestly, they encouraged me a lot, just because they knew it was competitive. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they wanted me to stick to school, make sure I do good, and don't stay up too late so that you're tired the next day. I didn't listen to them too much. But no, I had a lot of fun, and they encouraged me. And then once I got that first check for, I think it was $1,000, they're like, okay, okay, you made some money. I see it's real. Like they actually give you a check. And so they encouraged me from then on.
Awesome. That's so great. I think that's like the biggest thing is having a family that's on board with it. You're not constantly hiding and like keeping it secret. But I guess when you show them the money, then then it's hard
Yeah.
to disagree.
Yeah, and they were able to come out to the my third and fourth event. They were both in Orlando, Orlando 2009 and Orlando 2010. They were able to come out to that and see what it was all about. And whenever I first got started, my first team that I was on was with two of my cousins. One was a player, one was a coach, and
Nice.
my coach was like 26 at the time or something like that. So he was able to chaperone us, and it made it
Okay.
a lot easier for our parents.
Yeah, and you picked the best time to get involved with Halo
Yeah.
as well. Like that was
Oh, yeah.
like that's the apex of Halo right there. Like everybody is blowing up about it. Like everybody's playing it. It was crazy. So definitely the golden years. And then things just continued to improve in your career from there, especially during Halo Reach in 2011, where you achieved your first major win on LAN at MLG Raleigh alongside Lethal, APG, and Blaze. And Tony, if you could throw up a little bit of that MLG Raleigh, guys, the quality is not very good, but but just bear with it. We'll throw it up, and hopefully that's okay. It'll play in the background here. But man, tell me a bit about this experience. Like, how was that for you? Getting that major event win. At this point, did you already decide that you wanted to Halo to be like a career path for you, or were you just kind of like along with the ride at this point? What was your relationship with Halo?
It wasn't a career path. It was just something that I wanted to do. It was something that I wanted to be better than other people at. It was just a competition, and my competition stems from my cousins, and we would always try and be better than each other at whatever we did. And so I took that to Halo and was like, all right, I want to be better than this guy, and I want to be better than the next guy, and then it just kept going further and further until I got to the point where I actually won my first tournament. But winning this tournament, it didn't actually feel like I won the tournament. The tournament ended. Yeah, the tournament ended. I did all my interviews, and I was like, okay,
Right.
I guess the tournament's over. And then it took a while before it actually set in. It's like, hey, I actually, did what I wanted to do. I came out and succeeded at my goal, and it definitely took a day or two before I actually realized that.
Yeah, and I think even like your team walked away with like 20 grand at the time, which is pretty crazy too. Yeah. Like all pretty like unbelievable stuff when you're just starting out the career as well.
Yeah,
And I noticed, sorry?
I think I was like 17 at the time as well, and so for a 17-year-old to get a $5,000 check,
Yeah.
that's
pretty
something else.
And I noticed that your name isn't Ryanoob. It's a really good noob. It barely like fits in the frame there. But where did that come from? A really good noob, the name. And then at what point did you change it over to Ryanoob?
Yeah, so the first gamer tag I ever used was Soccer Ryan. I mean, terrible, simple name,
Right.
And then it moved on to a really good noob, I think middle of Halo 2, maybe late Halo 3, or early Halo 3. And it was basically, I felt like I was really good at games. I picked them up fast, but I was still a noob at Halo, so I just put that together, a really good noob, and it stuck for a while. I ended up joining a team for my second tournament. That was weird team Tokyo. So I was Tokyo Noob at the time. And then my teammate on Adrenaline Rush, Jariwalkie, gave me the name like, yo, Ryanoob, and put them together, and it sounds real nice. So thanks to him for coming up with that name, and it's stuck ever since.
Nice. There you go.
If you notice at the tournaments, like sometimes I'll use a really good noob. It depends tournament to tournament, but generally in the past, especially in Halo Reach, the longer the names, the more it like kind of messed up your screen. If you saw, like, you couldn't really see what was happening, and so I liked having the long names back then.
It messes up the screen, messes up the casters too when they're trying to say it. Like when I was talking to Boo Boo Doo Boo the other week and just saying like, did you pick that name just so you could screw over the casters? Yeah, and then you change it over Ryanoob, which is easier to say. I always like kind of worry about like it's like an oxymoron type name, but when you put noob in your name, it's like, will I ever evolve from being a noob? But like you stuck with it, and you just made it completely work. So at some point along the way as well, you were known kind of as like the nerdy guy too. Like you did the nerdy jumps and the nerdy strategies. Who was that started saying that about you? Like, do you remember like when that came to be, how that came to be?
Yeah, so there's actually a good story about that, and it's on YouTube. It has a bunch of plays from back then. But it first started coming around. Clutch back in Halo 3, he was the mentor at my first Combine event, the one that I ended up winning.
Man.
Yeah, Clutch. So I ended up doing like some jumps that aren't standard. I would jump from on Heretic, you can jump from pink door to the wing to top middle, and he was mind blown by seeing that. Like, and so. I mean, that was one of my first nerdy jumps, and then in Halo Reach, you know, you got the jetpack runs, and I was always just trying to push myself to be better at the things that people weren't good at, and trying to incorporate that into my gameplay. But the moment it became nerdy was back in I don't remember if it was a scrim or tournament, but it was on Sniped on stream, because I don't think I was streaming at the time, but it was on King of the Hill on Nexus, if you remember that game. It was like a Forge-ish map. I killed myself in one corner of the map, so I'd spawn on the other corner behind them.
Wow.
And I was like so sure it was gonna work, but at the like if I look back, it's like maybe it wouldn't have worked. But I was so sure that it was gonna work. It worked, and he's like, "Wow, you're a fucking nerd." And I was like, "Let's go," making it worse.
That's actually like that's super nerdy. Like, it's like the jumps is one thing, and then it's like, wait a second, if I kill myself right now, I know I will spawn in this location on the map. So like purposefully doing that just because you know it so well. But yeah, you leaned into it full force, which I think is like a good thing as well. I think you even, when you had your community, when you were doing content and stuff, you would call them the nerds as well, right?
A little bit, yeah. I didn't really have too much of a name for him. I would sometimes, whenever people would say, like, whenever I had like over 30 at one time, I was like, let's see if we can come up with a name, but it never really stuck to me.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the few that misses your content grind. I'm sure there are people in the chat who miss it as well. By the way, guys, we're doing a Q&A at the end of show, so make sure to start asking your questions now. Tony, I know I've got you on the earpiece here. Just look for the questions in the chat and keep track of them so we can have them ready for the end of the show, guys. If you have any questions for Ryanoob, make sure to ask them in the Q&A. Let's fast forward a bit to Halo 5 here, your time with Halo 5, where overall you had many high placings, around the top 6 teams in the league, but couldn't quite break through to the very top, though you had several great moments, especially at ME Las Vegas 2017. And there's a YouTube video about it titled Riot God, where you get these like nice plays. Let's check out some of them. Tony, you could play it up in the background, and we'll just watch a couple.
Yeah, so at this tournament, a lot of the plays that are made, they seem quite average if you just think of them as a solo play, but to make them at a tournament setting, to end up clutching it the way, like, to put all the pressure on you to make these plays, it makes it a lot more meaningful. I mean, you see solid shots out of a couple of these, but it was just the fact that I think 3 of them were just like 3 of the clips were just flag caps against Team Envious, who were ridiculously strong and so much better than our team, but because I was able to make the plays that I did, we ended up beating them in that game, which is ridiculous. You know, like I normally like don't like to say like carried a team, but like my team played well enough for me to be able to make these moves to like that were so unorthodox that if I didn't make these moves, we would have never have stood a chance against them.
Exactly. Like that play that's just on screen right there. Like, you just saved that flag cap completely, jumped out and got the cab went back onto the base. Like that's a huge play in a context of like what you were saying, playing against these top level teams, milking the timer on there to 0 seconds to get the melee as well. Like, just completely taking advantage. So yeah, a lot of really great moments here. These rockets were so damn powerful back in the day. What did you think of Halo 5, by the way? Kind of looking back on it.
As a competitive player, it was really like any Halo is just fantastic to play. It's just, Halo in general has just got such a fantastic feel to the competitive side, where you can always outplay your teammate or your opponents, but you can't solo carry a game for the most part.
Right.
So it's any Halo works out well for me, but Halo 5 in general, even though like it was solid, it wasn't up there like Halo 3 is. Halo 3. I feel like you can do a lot more to help your team, but in Halo 5 you had to do a lot more solo, and if everyone did their own part solo, then they would end up winning the game rather than, you know, working together as a team. And I think that's what I like about Halo 3 more, me being a team player, of course.
Right. That is a good point. Yeah, because fundamentally it is a team game. And Halo 3 so much more so. It's so much harder to make those individual plays with like a BR, let's say, and you got a 2v1, you've got to back out of there 99% of the time. And like in Halo 5, like you said, it's so individually focused. You could push forward and get yourself out of a really tight spot where you should be dead, but because you got the abilities, you're very good at using them, let's say, you can still escape and make it work. So that's when you had Splice kind of take advantage, because they were all so individually skilled and they just continue to just fly in your face. And a lot of players have been saying like suffocate the enemy team is kind of the way that they would try to play. So it did kind of become very focused on individual performance. I enjoy that as a casual player. I found that was pretty cool because I'm not, always part of a squad, and as a solo queue warrior was always a good time. But I think if they can strike a balance going forward, they could do a really good job with it. But as far as performances goes, towards the end of Halo 5, one of your standout rosters was Trifecta with Musa, Shooter, and Rain, especially at MLG New Orleans, where you achieved 4th place. Would you say that was like your best squad during Halo 5, or was there another roster you felt that could really take that #1 spot?
Yeah, I guess that was my best squad. I don't, we got 4th place, but I didn't feel like we were that great of a team.
Okay.
We kind of just caught the fire and ended up doing a lot better than we should have.
Right.
There's a couple of teams in the past, and I can't even think of them right now. But
Oxygen Supremacy was one of the big ones that stood out. Like you were there for a while. It seemed in comparison.
Yeah, and we were solid. It was just we kind of hit our cap on that team, and so we never were able to beat the teams that were better than us, but we rarely lost to the teams that were worse than us. We got like a bad bracket at Worlds, and so unfortunately lost like without playing many matches there. And I don't know. My Halo 5 season was, I would say, pretty unlucky for the most part.
Right. Well, there was another aspect of NOLA that was a highlight, and that was your rivalry with Spartan at the time as well. You defeated him in this unbelievable series. Things got a little heated on main stage as well. I'm wondering if the rivalry was part of the reason why you guys had that fire that kind of burned through to 4th place.
Yeah.
But let's play that clip up, the rivalry clip there, Tony.
Yeah, so this all started up from our conversations before on Twitter. I mean, I never really liked him. I disagreed with a lot of his philosophies. He put himself like above like fair play, basically. Like I always. Sorry, watching the clip.
Yeah, we can watch the clip, and I don't want to dig too deep. Like,
and that is going to be sweet victory for Trifecta. And look at that. Oh my goodness, did you see that Ryanoob just getting right up in Spartan's face? Just obviously yelling at each other. They are very emotional in this heated moment here. Huge victory there for Trifecta in a close Game 5. Unbelievable.
We'll just roll it one more time, just in case you're joining us. There it is, some exchanges of words.
I just randomly started something, and so going into this tournament, there's a lot of, like, even though there's like a little bit of a rivalry going into the tournament, there's more going into it because of that. And then to play him on main stage and to have that happen, it was crazy. So I was just going over there to, I was going over there to shake everyone's hands, but I was pumped. He didn't like that, and so it's just now I would say we're fine. Like it didn't extend past that tournament. Like after that, we had some fun. Like we just like poke fun at the fact that it is a rivalry, kind of like Sniped Out and Lethal do now. But actually, funny story. My mom came with me to London.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh, that's Spartan," and I wasn't like around at the time. It's like she walks up to him and is like, "Hi, I'm Ryanoob's mom. My son's gonna kick your butt."
Oh my God, are you serious?
I'm like, oh my God, like, that's how like into it she got. And obviously she's joking, and like
his parents are very into it as well.
Yeah.
So you have a whole parent battle going on too. The rivalry goes up.
Yeah, but for the most part, they know like it's all just fun and games, and nothing's too serious after that.
Right.
But yeah, that was a big laugh for us.
Have you ever had a rivalry like that before in Halo?
Not like a personal rivalry. It was more so just like a player rivalry, where it's like I play this guy at like every event, and I can't seem to beat him, or he can't seem to beat me.
Right.
I would say like Snipe Down, like I played him at so many events that I could just never beat him because I don't know, I could never beat him.
Yeah.
So whenever I did on against Rec, oh my God, that was just like another part of the hype.
Right. And that's the thing. Like you also are known to get super like heated, super passionate, like when you're winning, especially when it's against a team that could be like a rival, something like that. What do you think of rivals in Halo? Because of course they have like Snipe Down and Lethal in the past is an example. And yeah, just like how does that affect your play, right? Because was that 4th place? Did that come from the energy of that rivalry, wanting to beat Spartan, making that comeback?
I think it just came off a lot of hype from the entire tournament. We played so many games that tournament. I personally love rivalries, but a lot of the rivalries aren't seen on the camera. And I mean, shit, we don't do a very good job of marketing it. As so many matches like me versus Spartan after that weren't put on main stage. Like it's like, how do you not put that storyline on main stage? Like we're two evenly matched teams with a storyline that goes on main stage. So we didn't do a very good job of constructing the storyline.
Mhm.
But most of the storylines don't get seen. Most of the rivalries don't get seen because they're more lower tier, I would guess. Like everyone in the top
Sure.
8 is kind of like friends with each other. So Snipe Down and Lethal, like sure it's a rivalry, but it's not. Like it's not a
Yeah.
rivalry.
Yeah.
They don't hate each other. They teamed with each other, and as I don't know if it was a joke or what, but
Yeah. Therapy works or whatever.
yeah, like whatever. But
Yeah.
there's actually like a lot of rivalries in Halo that people just don't understand because they're not in the scene as much. And so whenever
Right.
I would watch those like cups that we'd have, like I'd be like, oh shit, that's a rivalry game. Let's go watch it because
Nice.
like, you know, as a player, you could understand like, oh, that guy got dropped from this team, but now it looks like they're gonna beat him. Let's go watch that.
Right.
You know, but we never had that in HCS because I don't know, production just didn't understand it because they weren't part of Halo.
Right. And that's something that I'm hoping gets a little more fleshed out. Because yes, well, a rivalry is kind of unfortunate in a way. Like you don't really want people fighting each other and stuff, but it does add like interest, and people want to see that. They want to see who wins. They want to see the bickering, the interaction. And like if you look at Gears of War has been popping off because of stuff like that. And now Gears esports is more popular than Halo esports. That was never the thing previously. But I'd say rivalries and then the trash talk and all of that really kind of, encourages that audience.
Yeah, and I think a part of the problem with that is that HCS for a while, it wasn't really like 343's fault, but ESL back in the day, they didn't allow us to have rivalries.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Contra got fined one time for tweeting out just like, we 3-0'd Kratos' team. It's like, oh, sweeping up the trash.
Kratos is the perfect character.
Yeah. And so he like tweeted out some funny picture and like, oh, he got fined for it. Like, great, whatever.
Jeez. Yeah. So they cracked down on it as well. Yeah, and that's the thing with Gears too, is you wonder like, how do they allow some of the stuff that these people say? Like some of the things that are said in those broadcasts are actually pretty terrible. But in the end of the day, it would be nice to have a little more of it, and for production to kind of keep tabs on it a little more, so they can highlight some of these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, something else I noticed in your history and your career, and there's some trivia on the Halo Wiki about this as well, is that you've done a lot of jumping around on rosters. Apparently, you've won at least 4 different events on different teams, on Infamous, Warriors, Vasavi, and Denial Esports. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say mostly that's because they were over different years. I won my first event in 2011, my second event late 2012, and then 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. But they were just so far apart. I think most of that's due to the fact that, well, I mean, the one event I won in 2012, we didn't have a tournament after that, so that was just a one-off tournament.
Yeah.
The one in 2011, I got second place the next event, so it would have been nice to have, back-to-back wins. But after our first event win, we just kind of got complacent and was like, yeah, we're a really good team on LAN, and then some drama happened after that. But yeah, normally it's just because it's been so long before I won my next event.
Is it ever really challenging, like jumping around between different teams and kind of like, do you feel like you're kind of starting over? Was there ever a time where you felt like you really gelled with people and, wanted to stick around longer, stuff like that?
I don't think generally it's about starting over. It's about learning new things when you're joining new players. And that's something that I enjoy. I think that makes me a better player, is the fact that I've learned so much from teaming with so many different people.
Right. That's a good point. And I'm sure you'll continue to learn a lot more as we got more 8 MCC PC, which is stuff I'm going to fast forward to a little bit soon. But in the present, at least, we've got Halo 3 back on the circuit, right? We've got, and this is where it all began for you as well. You used to be a huge 1v1 kid, apparently, as well. I was looking up some videos. You were 1v1ing Ninja and Sudoth 2. Do you feel right back at home with Halo 3? How does it feel playing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Halo 3 was my come-up game. It was the game I put the most hours into of all time. To talk about the 1v1s, the 1v1s with Ninja were like after Halo 3 was done. It was during Halo Reach. It was really funny actually because he was just trash talking me for some reason. Also, that was one of my big rivals back in the day, is Ninja.
Nice.
Lesser known because it was during the Halo 4 time span.
Right.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. And then the Sudoth 2, of course, he was just trash talking, and I thought I'd mess around with him and ended up 15-0ing him. But
apparently he does that to a lot of people.
Yeah. And I never really did 1v1s too much, other than the times that there was like prize money involved. I think Dr. Pepper did a 1v1 ladder, and I think I got second, or I think I actually got first in that tournament. Made like 1,500 from it. So I'm just like randomly good at the games that I don't practice, the FFAs, the 1v1s, and
what?
Yeah, I don't practice them. Like I kind of like pick up things as I go, and I watch a little bit, but I pick up things very quickly, and I'm able to put my knowledge of the game that I already had because of the time I put into 4v4s and put that into the game.
Right, because the
for
next
1v1s in a phase.
Yeah, because the next thing I was going to talk about is how you really stood out in FFA, especially recently. Like in both the Halo World Championship 2018 and UGC St. Louis, you won both of those FFAs. And at St. Louis, I'm pretty sure you had first place like the entire FFA. And there's great players against you. Tony, you can throw up some of the FFA footage as well. And I was wondering, because I know that you've got all these tipped videos that you do, if you have any tips that you can drop impromptu on Heretic FFA for some of our viewers.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I've noticed during my Halo 3 FFA gameplay is that you need to trade a lot more than in normal.
Right.
If you're in a bad position, you kind of just have to run at them and hope you can trade. Hopefully you can get the melee. But basically, you don't want to live very long. You want each life to like go by really fast. You get a kill, maybe a second kill, and then you die. And you respawn. You get in a good position. Rarely do you ever want to go on a killing spree because each kill takes about as long. Like, because if you have to wait for your shields to come back, if you get shot again, like it was better off dying and getting your shields back after the 5 seconds and getting a new spawn and getting a cleanup across the map because people don't know exactly where you're at, rather than like sitting ping 2 and waiting for people to come up there and then getting the kills.
Right. So that's actually a really interesting strategy, right? So you want to be in as many engagements as possible, just getting in people's faces and hopefully just landing as many trades as you can. And that's something that I saw you did exceptionally well. Like the 2-shot beatdown with the BR is like the go-to. You can't get that. You drop the sticky last second. Like, especially in these bases here, you had a lot of great plays. And yeah, man, you just managed to hold on. How do you get like, do you ever get nervous in these kind of environments? Like, it's got to be scary in FFA. Like you're holding on to top plays the entire time. You just lose it 1 second and then you can crumble.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of nerves that go into it, but over time, like when you've been in the game as long as I have, you're able to control them and use them to help you figure out what you need to do. And especially like whenever I went to my first event, I was so nervous, but once I got sat into the game, like my nerves didn't go away, but they were useful because I knew what I needed to do because of the amount of time I put into the game.
Right, that's smart. So you're always kind of in the process of learning, even through the nerves. Like there's something you gain from that experience. So that's a great mindset to have. I think a lot of people should follow in that mindset. They can improve more quickly as well.
Yeah, and I remember in the World Championships, like I could feel my heart beating while I was playing. And like I never notice it, but then like the last 2 minutes of the game, it's so close. I can just like feel it every time I die. Like I'm getting more and more nervous, but at the same time, I'm able to put that aside and figure out what I need to do.
Yeah, to just channel that and just stay focused, get in that flow state. Yeah, man, make it work. So even more recently, you managed to make it out to Gamers for Giving, representing Infinite alongside Scarvain, Piles, and Thuggish Killa, where you landed in top 6. But now teams are starting to prepare for the next big event, which is Dallas. So what are you doing right now? Are you still in the grind? Are you looking to compete at the next event?
I'm playing money 8s and taking people's money. I've been playing Pro 8s, and I think I'm 6-0 in my last 6 games. So
nice.
That's nice. But for the most part, I'm just waiting, and I'm not waiting for anything specifically. I just the tournament's not for as much money as we once thought it was, and so it's just not worth putting in months and months of time to be good at this game to win a marginal amount of money.
Right.
So like I'd like to, but it just makes more sense for me to focus on other areas of my life. So I think I might go, I might not go. It's still up in the air, but I'll figure it out in the coming month or so.
Yeah, something to figure out. And you're right. It's kind of tough. Like even looking back on the events that we've had, like the HCS Invitational was very exclusive, right? And G4G is a very small event in comparison to some of the bigger ones. So we've had St. Louis and then Dallas. Like is kind of hard to really incentivize, especially for somebody like you who's been competing for so long for much bigger prize pools to really continue to put in that energy. But we are waiting for some big announcements, right? We've got MCC PC that is apparently coming out very soon. We could have flighting for Halo Reach later this month, potentially. So what do you think about this announcement? Like, do you play any PC games yourself?
Yeah, I've played PC games all my life, really. I played StarCraft 2 back in the day. I was top masters in that. Damn. I beat some pro players sometimes in matchmaking.
Okay.
That was fun. I went back and watched that rebroadcast a lot because he was streaming at the time, and I thought it was hilarious. I was basically semi-pro at Dota 2. I was like top 70 ranked in Americas and like in North America for a while, and now I'm top 1,000. So, but I didn't like that was like while I was going pro in Halo. So I was like, yeah, this is my casual game. I'm gonna get really good at it, but like I play it for fun. hey,
Right.
there's a tournament, let's play it for fun. And it's like, oh shit, I'm actually kind of good. But in order to like be really good at that game, there's so much competition that you have to put in 12-hour days every day, and it's
Right.
just not something that I could do at the time.
Of course, like any of the big esports now too.
Yeah.
It's just so demanding. But as far as like mouse and keyboard versus controller, like let's say the next Halo game when it comes out on PC, or not the next game, sorry, MCC on PC, we'll start there. What if it's cross-platform? Like, would you jump over to mouse and keyboard? Would you stick with controller? Do you think gamepad has a chance?
Yeah, I think it definitely has a chance now that the buttons are in the back of the controller. You don't really have to take your thumbs off the sticks. I think it's much more competitive, the controller versus the mouse, but it's still mouse favored. Will I be switching? I don't know. My shot's never been really good. I mean, on the controller or on the PC, but I've been having a lot more troubles shooting with the PC. So, but we'll see. Like whenever Halo 3 came out on the PC for a little bit. Cough, legal stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
I used the mouse. It was a lot of fun, but I think that the controller is a lot better for movement than the mouse and keyboard. So we'll see.
Yeah, especially for classic Halo, right? Because one of the big things about movement with mouse and keyboard versus controller is like mouse and keyboard is you press the button, you go at full speed, you let go of the button, you stop. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground. Whereas with controller stick, you just tilt it and you can tiptoe or whatever you need to do. And I think that's so important for specific jumps and lining yourself up for certain jumps in certain scenarios. Like you need to be able to have that slow movement or full movement speed.
Yeah, and the full control over it.
Sorry?
And the full control over your movement,
the full control over it, and that puts you in the best positions on the map and gives you the best advantages, so you can land the best shots too. So I'm kind of that one guy. I'm sure there's a couple people that are with me on this that's praying that for once we'll have like mouse and keyboard and controller actually competitive at the highest level of play in esports. Like I think that'd be amazing if you had the next Halo completely opened up to the entire audience on PC and console, and anybody can just jump in. It doesn't matter what peripheral you have, and you have top level players on both peripherals going back and forth.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that the controller will be good for the Halo Infinite or whatever. I think that the mouse and keyboard will have a huge advantage, just because of the shot. Like people are so good at shooting, it's ridiculous. If you've ever watched Shroud play, like he's insane.
I know.
And so like I think they'll have an advantage, but I think that when the game comes out, especially Halo players from the past will still be using the controllers and still be better than the people who are using the mouse and keyboard and coming to it for the first time trying to go pro. I think that they won't have the experience needed. So I give a huge edge to the Halo pros. Yeah.
One thing that can't be denied is the skill ceiling is much higher on mouse and keyboard. That's totally it. It's just the full control of your acceleration, the fine-tuning little flicks and things that you can do. You have so much more control over your aimer, and people like Shroud demonstrate that on a regular basis. So for sure we'll see stuff like that. And then following MCC PC is the big thing that everybody's waiting for is Halo Infinite. And what would you like to see? Like, what are some of the things you'd like to see in Halo Infinite versus what we've had so far?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. It's going to be its own game. I have no info on it whatsoever. Like people always say, oh, no sprint, no this, no that. Honestly, I don't know. Like it's going to be its own game, and it's got to be made the best way it can be. And we can't give an answer to what the best thing would be for that.
Right, but you're not really the type of person who's like, it needs to be this way, like Halo needs to be this specific way. You're kind of just like, you're going to approach it at face value and just kind of, figure it out, I guess.
Yeah, me personally, I'm a maps guy. I'm not like a mechanics guy. And so the maps just need to be good. And with Halo 5, the maps were awful. Holy shit.
A couple good ones and a couple, I mean,
like, can you even say they were good? Like when you look at
I like Coliseum is good, Plaza and Truth, and that's pretty basically.
I mean, I'll disagree with
you. You totally can. You got more experience than I do, man.
I mean, they were like better maps than other, like they were better than other maps. Like you could like point out and say like, oh yeah, Heretic and Coliseum and Plaza were better than some of the other maps. But then you can just straight up say that they were all awful, and you can leave it at that. So hopefully the next maps aren't awful. And the one thing that irked me is like 343 hired that guy that was making maps, the Forge maps. I think it was like multi-shot or something.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard about that, but he was always critical of 343. But then he got hired I think he got like told he was hired, but then they ended up canceling his contract because they found out that he despised 343. Like he said negative things about 343. I thought that was ridiculous. So I just that only comes into my conversation because I hope the maps are good, and
Yeah.
with that happening, like, are they going to put the company basically like make sure there's no negative news over the fact that it needs to be a good game? We don't know. We'll see.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, what I'm hoping is like even if the launch maps that they have, like obviously we want them to be great, but I'm really more so hoping that whatever kind of like forge mode they have is super scalable and easy to use and doesn't affect the game in any way. Because I know when you make these big forge maps, there's like frame drops and just like little weird inconsistencies that you don't get on a regular developer made map. So if they can somehow find some way to make forge super easy to build on and beautiful maps that look the same as the other maps, and you can just have content creators making them on a regular basis and trying them out, and then we get amazing maps, I think that would be great. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as long as it's fixable.
See.
We'll see. We'll see is the big answer to all of these questions. So we'll see. Yeah. Now, I'm a personal fan here, and I'm sure you got some fans in the chat for this. This is the last question I'm going to ask before we go to the Q&A, but is there any chance you're going to continue the content grind? I know you got your Ryanoob review where you would watch like a specific player. It would even be like a fan, or it'd be like Penguin or like a pro, and then you would just kind of talk about stuff that you think, like whether it was the right play or the wrong play, macro things, micro things. Ever see yourself going back to that, especially with MCCPC coming out?
It's a great question. Honestly, I want to, but it was never very profitable. I mean, I got a decent amount of views, and I don't know if it was something on my end that I wasn't doing right, but I had never made $1 off of any of those videos, and I was getting like 1,000 views on each video. It's like, how am I not making any money? And so I never really looked into it. So it just like, it helped that I had a lot of views, and it helped that a lot of people liked them, but it just like wasn't something that I could just consistently put my time in. I would put other things off because I was like, I'm gonna stick to my schedule and making sure that I am consistent on these, and I was for a while, and I enjoyed doing it, but over time you just have to put other things first after you don't, everything revolves around money now that I'm married.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure like the responsibilities have just piled up in the past year for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really trying to prioritize your time and do what makes sense. So what I'm gonna like try to pull from this is that if Halo is just completely popping off, it's absolutely massive, and you've got a lovely competitive career that's thriving, you can throw up some of your live streams and stuff and make some content on the side. It's possible.
Yeah, I think that if I'm in a good mood going into Halo Infinite and I'm not tied down by anything, I think I could make some better videos than I have been making, and see if I can make see if it starts popping off right away. And if it won't be something that like Ninja, who he streamed for 4 years with like 20 viewers for like 12-hour days, like every day. It was ridiculous. Wow. And like I really appreciate him. Yeah, no, he had like no viewers for so long. So I really appreciate his grind, but I couldn't do something like that. So if I end up popping off like right off the gate, like maybe I can do something like that, and maybe I can put out good videos. But if it's not something like that, and if I don't enjoy doing it, like there's just a lot of things that go into it that all I can say is we'll see. It's something that I'll look into though. I'll look into it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's get some people in the chat asking questions. Remember, guys, we have our Q&A at the end of the show, which is right now. So we're gonna see what people are saying. We've got a couple questions lined up here, but you can keep asking your questions. Tony's in the chat there, keeping track of everything. So we've got Since Back Den. What's his favorite Halo game for campaign?
Campaign. Oh my god.
Do you play much campaign?
I've played all the campaigns. Do I play much campaign? It was more so a competitive thing for each campaign, like whenever it came out. But I think ODST was probably my favorite, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, randomly. Like I think I was most interactive into that one. Like I felt like I was in the game more than the other games. And all the other Halos, I was just trying to go through it as fast as possible on the hardest difficulty and see like I was challenging myself to get through it more so than I was focusing on the fact that it was a story.
You got sucked into ODST, and I think it was also the unique style of the hub world.
Yeah,
that was so cool. You're just kind of walking around some massive hub world, and then you go into like separate sections and memories and stuff like that. So that was a very unique approach. We have Paytonic. Who was Ryan's all-time favorite teammate? Good question.
All-time favorite teammate. So for a while it was legit. I think he was one of the coolest characters that I teamed with. But more recently it's been Shooter. He's been just a solid rock. One of my favorite players because not only did I understand everything that like any disagreements that I mean, we rarely had any disagreements, but anytime that we like brought something up, it was always like us two as a team trying to figure out the best way to present it to our other teammates. Outside the game, we always played the same types of games. I got into Hearthstone, he was into Hearthstone, I was into Counter-Strike, he was into Counter-Strike, you know. And so I just recently got him in and got him into another game. We both just got dogs, like like yeah, it's just like there's so many things that we just have in common that it's just like he's surpassed legit as my favorite teammate.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Is he still active though? I haven't seen him play Halo in a little while.
He wasn't good at Halo 3 and he didn't want to put the time in. Like I think he's getting married too, or I say I think because I don't know if he already got married. I don't think he did.
True.
I think he's getting married soon. He just got a dog. He's got, you know, friends that he's hanging out with more. Hey, puppy.
Speaking of dogs, we were just talking about that a second ago. You said it was a lab and a
mastiff. So he's getting close to 80-ish pounds right now, and he's only a year old. So he's still expected to grow. Do not knock anything over.
Seems like a good dog though. I was telling you, I have to get my dog out of here because she just makes all this noise. But yeah, hopefully he stays good. He's still in the young tender age.
He's a good boy.
Next up, we have Mark Owns Your Face. What gaming monitor is Ryan using?
Oh, I'm using the BenQ. I think it's the 2455RL something.
I know that.
Yeah, I never upgraded from it. I used to use the ViewSonic back in the day, back in like 2009. Whenever I first started like taking it seriously, like I got the ViewSonic for Christmas one year, and I got a mix amp and headset for another year.
Nice.
It's like that was like the only thing that I got for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, the BenQ, it's like RL24 whatever. I have it too. It's the 60 hertz like standard 24-inch BenQ that's just been like the standard for like the last like 6, 7, 8 years or something. Like it's been around for a while.
It was the standard. I think now they're moving on to something else, but I never paid attention to what they're going with now.
Yeah. For Xbox gaming, it's totally fine, but I feel like if you guys are buying monitors right now, you'd probably want something with more hertz, like that's scalable, so you could use it on PC. Yeah, or like future consoles. So there's that.
Hopefully we move on to 140.
Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe they could do it.
We'll see.
Once again, Star 9117. Was there a particular pro you looked up to or modeled your playstyle on?
Absolutely. Walshy was the first pro that I really looked up to.
You actually have some parallels in terms of like how you kind of see the game and how he does, I feel.
Yeah, and so I think that he helped create and forge my understanding of like focusing on a team style more than going for every sniper and trying to be the best at, you know, the game-changing situations. I would try and figure out how to pull apart my opponents and how to out mind game them and how to outsmart them and figure out what the general play styles of players are, and well, how do I take that one step further, you know? And then if people see me, it's like, well, they're expecting me to do it now. Do I change that up, you know?
Yeah. Are you a fan of the Instasplode as well?
Yeah. I mean, as much as you can be. I wasn't his levels. I seriously can't tell if he memes about it or if he's serious about his love for Instasplodes.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where it's like basically a meme now.
Yeah. But does he know that?
I don't even
We know that. But does he know that?
He's just leaning into it. He's like, whatever, more Instasplodes the merrier. You know, I can't. And then we have a terrible username, Fartpoo69. Good work, man. What's the dog's name?
Apollo.
Apollo, nice.
Apollo. Oh, look at him. He's running.
He knows his name.
Good boy.
Ray plays 786. Do you think that competitive Halo should be controller only?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Absolutely not. Why would you limit the skill ceiling of a competition just because of the way things were?
Yeah. That's definitely fair. I'm the kind of person who, like, it's been on controller forever, and people have put so much time and energy into mastering that craft. So it's sad to see that. Like, if controller becomes, like, obsolete, let's say, and mouse and keyboard becomes the main way to play, and controller just can't compete, I'm going to shed tears. I'm going to shed a tear.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I think especially for the first year or two for the next competitive Halo, it still will be dominated by controller users.
Right.
In my opinion, I mean, people might be convinced to jump ship, but I think that if if the old school Halo players continue to use the controller, they'll still be on top for a while.
Right. Still some advantages, and yeah, hopefully that showcases itself, and we get some real great controller players. We have Keon. Does any moment beat the feeling of winning Game 1 against Straight Rippin at Columbus 2010?
Oh goodness. Do you know that one?
No, I don't. I should
know that. You need to know that one.
I'm a bit of an H5 kid. I'm not gonna lie. Like I used to watch classic Halo, and I saw like the Straight Rippin montage, and I used to watch some of the classic MLG stuff, but I didn't comprehend it all. Like I didn't. I would take tabs on like the players in like the main teams, but I wasn't like a hugely invested fan at the time, so I missed out on some amazing stuff, and I'm learning.
So you know Warriors though, right?
Yeah.
So is that? I think it was that tournament.
Okay.
Is when we beat them Game 1, and I freaked out. And I think that was whenever I yelled Warriors. That was the game that
Oh my god.
We beat them Game 1. We got absolutely smashed the next 3, like not even close. But it was just like that game specifically stands out because like they had it on their Straight Rippin's team audio like right before. He's like, Snipeson's like, I'm not even worried at all. Like this is gonna be so easy. This is gonna be so fun. And then they lose, and we're freaking out. And it's just, oh my god.
Oh my god!
There's so many like parts of that game. Like the entire time, you just hear me screaming.
I need to
throughout the
look it up
entire
now.
game, you have to
see it. Yeah,
you have to.
That sounds pretty incredible. So you just like went all out, and then what's that like taunt to get bodied? That's basically it. It's a Smash Bros reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like a fun memory.
We ended up getting fit that tournament, winning that crazy 11-game series versus Triggers Down. So,
damn.
Yeah.
Hopefully the quality, if I go back and watch it, hopefully it's like a good watchable quality. That's the worst thing is it's like 240p.
It's not.
It's
not.
so
it's like
so
it
rough.
might be 480, but it wasn't good.
Yeah. All right, we have Swiftkill in the chat. What's your favorite nerd jump glitch in Halo and why? Nerd jump or glitch?
I mean, my standard favorite has always been the pink door to wing because I got really good at it, and people would try it and they still weren't able to like jump as well. You know, it's weird. It's like there's like most people can jump, like they barely get it to where they hit the low part of the wing, but like I can jump up high, and like for some reason that was always like my standard jump. It wasn't anyone else's jump. Like other people would do it, but they never implemented it into their game as much as I did in the past. So I think that one is more so my favorite.
Is there something that you're doing to allow you to hit the higher part of the wing rather than people who are going at the lower part?
Yeah, it's just something that takes practice, and you have to like hit the lip at the right angle, and you have to hit it on the side, and then you have to like, it's kind of like a ghost walk jump. I don't know how to explain it, but you like go just a little bit higher so you can hit the top part of the wing. And some people like in order to jump to top middle after that, they have to back up and take a couple seconds and then jump top middle. And some people have gotten good at it, but they don't implement it into their game as well. So that's why I like to consider myself good at it.
Right. So it's not even just. Sorry. Yeah.
You're good. I was ending.
Yeah. So not even just being able to do the jump, but implementing it effectively in your game as well, as that's the biggest thing too.
Yeah. And that's where they got me with the jetpack runs back in Halo Reach. Is like other people could do it, sure, but like, did they do it at the right times?
Right. Did they do it properly? Yeah. Cash Money Mike, why do you think we didn't have more Forge maps in the Halo 5 competitive rotation? Huge fan and proponent of Forge. Your thoughts on Forge in general?
Forge is a great tool. Unfortunately, some of the frame rates were really bad. Some of the maps were really bad. One of the problems is that we don't have someone who like knows what they're doing that can weed out all the terrible maps and help the competitive community actually play on the good maps. So that was what took so long at the start. And then once we got the good maps, it was like, well, there's frame rate issues on the maps, and it's like, how long do we have to like test these maps before we can put them in play? Honestly, there was a couple of good maps that I really wanted to put in, but no one wanted to like step out of their comfort zone for maps that were untested and unproven to be good. And then we got maps. I don't even remember what the oddball map was called that we put in late.
Fissure and Echelon.
Fissure. Like we got like those maps weren't like awful, but they were better than the ones that we had. But there were like so much better ones that were created that we just didn't use because people, because we just didn't want to test them. And it
what was
so
a better one, by the way? Just so I could even.
I can't.
Do you remember that? You don't remember the names?
No, it's way too long ago.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that the biggest issue was that we didn't have someone like in the middle that helped us figure out which maps we should be testing that actually understood Halo. Like some people from 343 were like, "Hey, test these maps," and we're like, "Absolutely not. We will not test these maps." Like just from looking at them, you could like tell like we're not playing this map. And then sometimes it's like I would test it, but I don't know how to bring it to everyone else. Like I wasn't like that guy that could organize, you know, teams to actually play on them. And so it was just a mess. You know, we had some nice looking maps that we could have played, but also alongside it were the shitty maps and the oddballs on Eden that like, why are we playing this? Yeah. So I think mostly it's because of that, and then the other part is 343 just not being able to move quickly enough and implementing everything quickly enough.
That's literally it too. Is it started happening so late? Like we didn't start testing or even trying to implement Forge maps till like 2018, like mid to late 2018 is when we like really started doing it. I think so. Like it just started happening too late. If it started happening in 2016, then like by the time we get to the end of the series or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, that's one of those unfortunate things.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you can say, oh, well, what can we do, right?
Right, and that's why I was saying that I really hope that whatever Forge mode they create with the next game is like there from the get-go, and it's ready to go, and it's scalable. It's very, you can make maps for it. You don't even necessarily, it could be so good that you might not even have to focus too much on the developer-made maps because the Forge is just so good. You just have a bunch of Forge guys making amazing maps, like. So
one can dream, but
one can dream, yeah.
But I'm sure that 343, I don't want to say E word, but they might have an ego and not let us use those Forge maps because the developer maps are good enough for some reason. We can only have 1 or 2 Forge maps instead of the entire thing being Forge maps because of some arbitrary understanding of why they want to do it. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. I guess like if there's like a big graphical difference in some way between Forge and the maps that they spend time creating, and they'd want to highlight like those specific maps for newcomers like coming in and watching it, but it may not necessarily work for competitive play, let's say.
Yeah, so like the casual players can jump into it. It's like we're limiting ourselves on the competitive side because the casual players wouldn't understand it. Like, well,
right.
Fine. Like that's okay. Right. In my opinion, like I think that 343 tried their best to implement the casual players into Halo 5, the competitive side, and they failed miserably. And like, hopefully, going into Halo Infinite, we don't have that issue.
Right. Well, I hope so too, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Tools with the last question of the night. How does being a part of a new organization or one that does not have as much money compare to going to an event within a more established organization? Does it change your experience of the tournament?
Generally not. Everything's worked out beforehand, whether it's contracts or just general understandings of what you're going to be getting going into the tournament. And so like sometimes these newer orgs come in and they're like, yeah, we have a lot of money that we can throw at you. And so you'll have everything covered. You'll have a salary, you'll have Ubers paid for, you'll have food paid for. Right. And sometimes like, it's like, hey, we can only pay for this much. I hope you understand. Like, and you're like, yeah, sure. So it's not really about like the newer or more established or whatever. It's just about knowing what you're going to get going into it.
Right. In some instances, though, I think at like the top level of play, if you're part of like Optic, let's say, then you get invited to like the whole green wall and the fans and everything too. So it's not even just the money. It's like there's a way bigger audience of people suddenly who expect you to win or want you to win or whatever it is.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've never been part of it. I've never been a big part of those. Like I've gotten like I think my biggest was Winter Fox and Trifecta.
Okay.
So like I've never been a part of those orgs. I can't comment on like what it's like to have fans that of the organization come into Halo. It's mostly like fans of me and my teams, like bringing them to the organization and cheering on the organization, getting them followers.
Yeah. In the end of the day, the tournament's still the tournament. That's not going to change. You still got to bring your A game. But anyway, that covers all of our questions. Thank you, Ryanoob, so much for joining me. Where can we follow you on all the social media? Shout them out. I want to see the YouTube in there too.
Get the Twitter at Ryanoob HCS. We got the YouTube at a really good noob, I think. Still, I never changed that. That's mostly the 2 things that I use. I got the Twitch Ryanoob. So make sure to go follow and subscribe there, even though I don't stream anymore.
Are you ever going to come back to it? I think you were playing Dota was like the last thing that you were streaming.
So like, I think my capture card isn't 100% right now. Like sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. So I just never bothered trying to figure out what the problem is and what I need to do to fix it. If I even need to fix it, it might be working right now, but I don't want to go through it. For the amount that I'm going to be streaming because I probably play once or twice a week. But so yeah, sometimes I might be like sometimes I'll get in the mood and be like, yeah, I'll stream Dota or I'll stream this other game. I might be streaming something else coming up soon. We'll see.
All right. All right. Well, it's nice to even just have you on for the hour. We can catch up.
Absolutely.
See what you're doing, and hopefully we see a lot more of you with MCC PC, Infinite, a lot of big things to come, and excited to see what the future brings, man.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see once again. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. That closes tonight's show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And remember, we had our Grassroots giveaway, which has already probably been announced. Tony, you can give me that the winner of the Grassroots giveaway. Remember, guys, you had to type ! Grassroots in the chat, and you get the BR skin and the nameplate as well. Some nice little goodies to look forward to there. We have it. Cider is the winner of the Grassroots giveaway. So there you go. Congratulations, dude. Enjoy your BR skin and nameplate. That'll close tonight's show. Remember, guys, you can support us also by buying our merch. This is the merch right here. Some beautiful stuff. Everything that you buy supports UGC and supports me as well. And of course, as always, I would highly appreciate that. And until we see each other next week, have a good night. I'll see you guys around.